re-referred, I should say, no longer part of this committee's jurisdiction as amended in rules. So, Ms. Romero, please, you may begin and continue your testimony, please.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. I've given the bulk of my opening already, but let me just reiterate that we all die. And what we are asking today is for us to recognize that there is an inequity. It's a built-in inequity in the system we currently have in California. We delivered to you, as I said, these pretty pink coffins. We're asked, one day we will be in one of these, perhaps, maybe in a little urn, who knows? And we are asking today in the passage and the discussion of this bill that in lieu of flowers, just send equity. Right now, we provide for a current death benefit of classified school employees of $2,000. That doesn't even begin to cover what is needed. I also want to emphasize that the reason we chose pink coffins is because the bulk of the classified are quite simply, they're women. It's a women's issue. It's an equity issue. That's why the California Commission on the Status of Women is very interested in the parity of this issue. We're asking for, even in recessionary times, we know it's difficult times, but it's a policy, an issue. If there's inequity, we need to address it, and we hope that the fiscal issues could be resolved in the Appropriations Committee. We're looking at, and of course, too, in working with the classified, we're looking at ways in which we can phase this in over 3 years in order to increase the death benefit. As I pointed out, in comparison, teachers and administrators in the school system receive over $6,000 in death benefits, while UC employees receive $7,500. There is a real inequity in this system. I know I spoke earlier. I'll stop there because I think we have the witnesses here, and I'd like to turn
witnesses
to them.
in support, please.
Yes, my name is Marty Hittleman, and I'm president of the California Federation. I got it. Thank you. My name is Marty Hittleman, and I'm president of the California Federation of Teachers. And we find it really humiliating that the state PERS pension only gives $2,000 at the death of one of our retired classified school employees. Teachers, as you heard, get over $6,000. The average income of a PERS retiree is $13,608. That's not even enough to live on. So when they die, that money is very important for them to be able to be buried at least with some dignity, although throughout their whole life, their salaries were very, very low. That is one of the reasons why we're starting with school employees to increase the benefit. We know that we believe that all PERS retirees should get this benefit, but the lowest paid should be first in line. They're going to be the most in need, and that's why we're asking to begin to increase the amount allowed to their beneficiaries. So we'd like you to convey your support of SB 1209 by sending a message to our classified school employees that they're valued, that we don't look at them as second-class citizens, that we understand that they need to pay for their funeral and burial costs as much as anyone else, and they have less resources to do this. So please convey a message through your support of SB 1209 that this legislature supports classified employee members having a comparable death benefit. And if you want to deal with the cost, the proper place for that is not in this committee, but rather in appropriations. So let me remind you that it's always the right time to do the right thing.
Thank you, sir. The chairman's going to step out momentarily to vote in another committee. Additional witnesses in support.
Good afternoon. My name is Velma Butler, and I wear two hats. I'm president for the American Federation of Teachers, Local 1521A, and we represent the employees in the LA Community College District. I also serve as president for the CFT Council of Classified Employees, and this is really a big issue for us. Let me start off by saying that don't we deserve the right to die in dignity? We're the people that you see every day when you go into a school. We're the security guards, we're the crossing guards, we're the secretaries, the custodians. We're the people that earn the less. So now it's time for you to treat us with the dignity we deserve. We know that $2,000, I'm sure that you know people that bury their pets pay $2,000 to bury them. We're only asking for equity, for you to provide the same amount of burial that you would provide to a teacher, because as Hillary Clinton says, it takes a village to raise children. So it takes all of us to be a part of educating the children that we bring into society today. We were very thankful Senator Ducheney's proposal to look at an increase. But once we did the numbers, we have a real concern that if we look at the proposal that's proposed, it would take 32 years to get to $6,000. 32 years. Think about that. How long would that, how many of us would even be alive? And we're the baby boomers that are retiring now. So many of us won't even be alive to get the $6,000. We also did some research on the cost of a coffin in 2042. We're talking about $12,000 for the box then, so which we still won't have the equity that we're trying to achieve today. So what we're asking you to do is look at that there are 71% of the employees that's in CalPERS are women. The women are the, as you know, I see many women here today, are the less paid, which we know. But we do know that if you go to the proposal that we proposed, and we understand about the economy does, I mean, even in the good times, nobody changed that $2,000. So good or bad, it has not been changed. But we're proposing that you look at a model that would give us, it would take us to 2024, which will be 13 years to reach the $6,215, which to me is a closer, I mean, I'm sure we'll live to get 12 more years, hopefully. But to say 32 years, there is no way the equity, we will be able to achieve the equity to reach $6,000 in 32 years. So we plead with the committee today, just get it out of this committee and let the people that do the numbers, and then we'll have more to talk about. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Additional witnesses in support. As you're coming forward, I would remind those who intend to speak that members of the committee, some members of the committee have indicated they need to depart because of schedules. So you might want to keep that in mind as you give your testimony. We've had two speakers in support, so at this point, I'm going to suggest that you, if you would just give us your name and your affiliation, that would be helpful to us. So why don't we begin, and there are others coming forward. So we've had detailed testimony, so if you just give your name and your affiliation, please. Go right ahead.
Neil Kelsey, I'm the Executive Director of the Coast Federation of Classified Employees in Costa Mesa.
My name is Christy Figueroa, and I've been with 20 years with the San Diego Community College District. I am also the Secretary for the Council of Classified Employees. And I just ask that, please just let me die in dignity.
Diana Ramon, 11 years with the Coast Community College District in the County of Orange. And I also ask that we deserve to die with dignity. Thank you.
I'm Chuck Bunker. I'm a husband of a classified employee and the person who really feels the brunt of the effect of this bill, and would just like you to help me. Thanks.
My name is Mila DeLucas, and I'm from San Diego Community College District with the AFT Local 1931 Guild. And I've been with the San Diego Community College District for 11 years, and I will retire in 9 years. Thank you.
Dorothy Bates. I'm with the Council of Classified Employees, CFT, and I've been with the Los Angeles Community College District as a classified employee for 24 years.
Hello,
My name is Betty Williams, and I'm a retiree and on a fixed income. So you know I will be trying to get my daughters to pay for a coffin for me on a fixed income. That means I have no more money to make after serving 30 years as a classified employee. Didn't make a lot of money, but I stood the time and the duration, and I think I deserve more than $2,000. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Marshawn Russell. I'm with Los Angeles Community College District. I've been there 19 years, and I just like to die in dignity. Thank you.
My name is Mary Van Ginkel. I've been with the Los Angeles Community College District 10 years, and I just buried my mother. I know how much it cost. And there's no way that my husband, who just left the table, would be able to take care of my last request with $2,000. So I'm in support of this bill.
My name is Marian, and I've been with Los Angeles Community College for 9 years. Please let me die.
Press the red button.
Please let me die in dignity. Thank you.
My name is Sheila Jeter. I work for the LA Community College District at West LA College. I've worked for the district for 10 years, and this is for the future of our kids. And I need my children to know that the state of California is behind him when it's time to bury me and my husband. Thank you.
My name is Sandra Lepore. I'm the Executive Secretary of the AFT Staff Guild Local 1521A. I've been doing that job for over 25 years. I know the salaries that our classified employees make. I know the retirement amounts that they live on. And we know that to bring justice to this issue, that the death benefit should be increased for them and their survivors. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Joanne Haywood, and I've been an employee of the LACCD for 16 years. And most of us that took jobs at the district office or in public service is not only because it was great pay, but because we love what we do, and also the benefits. And so now we're at a point where we feel as though, even though we have served the time, we would not be compensated for the service that we've given. We do not want to leave a burden on our children after we have served for quite the extensive time that we have. I am an athletic secretary at West Los Angeles College, and I'm also a member of the executive board. Thank you.
My name is Dorothy Munt. I've worked for the Los Angeles Community College District almost 15 years. I'm an administrative secretary at Mission College. I'm also the secretary at my local, 1521A, and I ask the same, that my children won't be burdened with my funeral. Thank you.
My name is Carolyn Ritchie. I've been a classified employee with the Compton Unified School District for over 10 years. I also ask that you let me die in dignity, and when it comes time for me to pass and my children are grieving, that they're not burdened with trying to figure out how to buy a box to put me in. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Herdy Chickaduray. I'm an administrative assistant at Long Beach Community College District, and I have been for the past 15 years. I'm also the president of the AFT local at that organization, and I have from time to time had to counsel individuals in their times of grief. So I would plead with the committee to take a look at this proposal in a serious manner. Thank you.
I'm sorry, this took me by surprise. But I'm a grandmother. I have 5 beautiful granddaughters. And I've been with my union, Local 1521A, and without them I would not have survived because I was a single mother, and I raised, my children are adults now. And I just came back from Florida from spring break, so my grandchildren in California can see their cousins in Florida. When I came back, there was a death one of my best friends, her brother got killed in an accident. He has 3 children. And we have to raise funds real quick because they had no money for a funeral. So we were able to raise, like, they needed $4,000. We were able to raise like a couple thousand and some pledges. So thank God to my frugal habits, I've set aside some things, but there's a lot of people who are not that lucky. So 2,000 might not be so much for everybody, but for people who really have nothing, it's a big deal. So this is a very important resolution for me.
My name is Mike Romo. I spoke earlier, but I understand some of the senators weren't in the office. I'm a 23-year member of the Community College, LA Community College District. My wife, God rest her soul, is a member of the district also, and what others have said they don't want to go through, I've been through. I'm asking this committee to please pass legislation so that others don't have to go through what I went through. And for those who were not in the room, I ask you to please review the testimony from earlier to get a first-hand report of how it can affect an employee. Thank you.
Opposition? Questions from the committee? Comments from the committee? Yes, Ms. Senator Chen.
Well, this is very troubling all the way around. But I guess one question that the analysis raises that is that apparently, if this is such an important issue, why has nobody bargained for the up to $5,000 that you're allowed to bargain for at the local level under current law?
We're a federation of locals, so for me to answer that question, I'd have to poll each of the locals as to why that happened. But typically in this environment, it's very difficult to bargain any increase in any benefit or salary in this environment. But when you're talking about...
Well, that sort of makes it harder for us
you're
saying you're bargaining with us, though.
But you know that the cost is very slight statewide. It looks like a high cost when you do the actuarial over 30 years. But when you actually look at the year-to-year cost to the state, it's very small given the benefit that would be received. So it's much easier for the state as a whole to pool the money and take care of this. And then the districts will pay the actuarial accounting for that. And the employees will, again, if it's very possible that they will be once again reducing their salaries from what they could have had in order to have benefits. We've argued that over and over again about our pensions and about that we're willing to be provided in our retirement a sum that makes it at least livable, and when we die, at least affordable for our beneficiaries at that time, and we're willing to give up some salary along the way, and that's what this would do.
But you're asking the state to make a universal position, raising it, by 100% in 1 year. It started at 300%. I appreciate that you've moved back, but the problem is, you have the ability to bargain locally for these higher benefits that everybody's saying they think are an important benefit. And the secondary problem from, at least I think, the state's perspective is that you're carving yourselves out of all the other state employees. And so you're trying to match to STRS instead of to other PERS employees who are more similarly situated.
Well, actually, if you look at
the pressure... But the pressure you create is, if we're going to do this for school employees, why wouldn't we do it for state workers?
Well, I would hope that was in fact that was the case, because of course we're interested.
Until we're ready to do that, and until we have enough money to do that, right now the threat is you do this and those same folks will be without a job tomorrow because there won't be any money for the schools. You'll be shutting down 3 weeks out of the year.
Well,
so I don't know which one is worse.
It's not the level of money we're talking about isn't to that level. It's just not to that level. But if you're willing to send it to a committee that will look at the cost, then we will be ready to discuss the cost at that point. That's the appropriate place. The question for this...
But the policy question then you're raising is, Should classified employees be treated like teachers rather than like PERS recipients, which is what they are, and you're taking them out of the PERS and you're putting them in STIRS?
Well, no, we're saying that this group of employees, the lowest paid among the PERS recipients, are a good first step in that direction. We're not saying that other PERS employees don't deserve this, because we believe they deserve it as well. But what we're saying is that every journey starts with a first step. And this is a first step toward showing that, in fact, we care about classified employees in the state, and especially classified school employees.
Mr. Chairman.
I'm going to hold some, if the senator is satisfied with her answer, I'm going to ask testimony to end there, unless you want it. Oh.
Well, I just want to try to clear up a contradiction in testimony between the earlier hearing and this hearing. We had a discussion in that committee about the impact on PERS by granting the benefits afforded in this bill. And we were told, no, this is not a PERS impact. This would be district by district. It would be an authority within each district. Now, based on the...
Yeah, that's what
we were told. And now Senator DeShaney's pointing out that existing law already provides you with the authority that was described to us in the earlier portion of this hearing.
Let me clarify the issue, because perhaps it wasn't said accurately either this morning or now. The point is that, in fact, it would be required for every district under this proposal to pay whatever the actuarial value of that is. So it would be required of every district. Once the actuarial value of that is calculated, which is very small, because when you look at how many people are retiring,
but that takes us into the debate that we had earlier when you were not present, which was that PERS already has an unfunded liability. Senator Cox asked, what is the cost of the current death benefit to PERS, the system? That number was not available. Then we asked, Senator Cox asked, what is the cost of granting this additional benefit? That number was not available. I asked, what is the unfunded liability of PERS currently? That number was not available. So that's why I reject the argument that somehow this bill can't be discussed except in appropriations, because this bill is only about appropriations. It's only about money.
No, it's about, from our point of view, it's about providing a group of people who give their lives, their working lives to children and school people, that they be recognized in their death by this small amount to help them be buried in dignity. That's what this bill is about. That's the policy issue. Now, as far as the unfunded liability,
the other policy issue is carving you out of the rest of PERS.
Senator, can I?
But that's already the case in PERS. People are already targeted out in PERS all over the place. Every PERS agency has their own contract with PERS. So already there's differentiation between, for example, if you look at, police officers, you'll see that they have a higher...
Public safety officers.
Yeah, safety. So there's already this kind of provision within PERS of differentiation. What we're asking for is, as a first step, that school employees have this. And as far as the actuarial is concerned, as a mathematician, I think I understand what an actuarial is about, and it's sometimes overstated as far as what the actuarial cost is and what the liability is, because, for example, STIRS about, 7 or 8 years ago was funded at, 105%. A few years later, it's funded at 80%. It varies. What you have to do is you have to go over the long run and see what the actual liability is. You know, we already, STIRS and PERS are starting to creep up to over the 80% level, which most people consider a reasonable level of a pension.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I'm prepared to make the motion for this bill, and I believe that although, of course, we do have very difficult fiscal waters to chart, and that many very good points were made in this hearing today, I do believe that the proponents have made their case with regard to the policy issue, and that is whether it makes sense to move this bill forward and address the fiscal issues in the fiscal committee. So I'm prepared to move this bill forward today so that we can continue this discussion.
Okay. Any other further comments or questions from the committee?
Senator, could I just ask, I want to respond to Senator Duchesne's one question.
If she wants your response, if not, she said it's fine. You want to hear her testimony? Go ahead.
Just on the one issue regarding the school employers, your analysis, rightly so, says that no school employers have ever amended their contracts to provide for the higher optional death benefit. That is true. That doesn't mean that they haven't tried to bargain for that higher death benefit. They just have not been successful. So, that's, when you're talking about this, we have to look at what's doable at the local level, and obviously they haven't been able to do it. Not all retirements are created equal. And classified school employees, they earn lower salaries, therefore they have a lower monthly retirement allowance, but it's not just the salaries, it's the formulas that are different. Public agency employees, whether we're talking peace officers, firefighters, legislative staff, or folks at the DMV, it is a very different formula. So please, when you're looking at these classes of employees, and PERS has very different classes of employees, please look at them separately, and that's all we're asking for. We think that that all PERS members should have a higher death benefit, but there are some unique circumstances with classified employees, and that's why we brought forward SB 1209.
And also
Call the question.
And one last thing, shared responsibility is much cheaper than individual district responsibility.
Before we vote, I just want to make a couple of comments myself. And Mr. Hittleman, what you said about the lowest paid should be first in line, I think that is an absolutely good place to start. In terms of the death with dignity, I couldn't agree with you more. 2000, we're getting to that age right now where all of us have to, unfortunately, say goodbye to a lot of our friends. I had a neighbor that had an unexpected death, very, very challenged family in terms of surviving day to day, and their 17-year-old son died within a 2-week period. He was admitted to a hospital, found out he had leukemia. Within 2 weeks, he was gone. And I ended up having to call the funeral home to negotiate a lower price, and, I did it with honor and respect, and I contributed a substantial amount of my own money towards that funeral. I understand when these things befall upon you and the decisions that people have to make. Forget the casket. I mean, the other things you've got to do to pay for these. Nonetheless, my challenge right now, and when you say it's not the right time, I think rather it's the environment we're in. My big challenge right now, and a lot of the classified, a lot of the teachers are my neighbors. All my kids go to public school. I have 4 of them. And these are big challenges that we have. And every time I go to schools, I have people saying, am I going to have a job tomorrow? I have classified that have my cell number and call me, Lou, am I going to have a job tomorrow? We're going to get laid off. Is there a whole new round of cuts coming? And this is my priority right now. I don't know, and you're right, this is probably more appropriate for appropriations, whether the numbers make sense or not. But for me as an individual, having heard from my constituents, from my neighbors, the people who teach my children, the people who clean the schools where my children go to school, I believe it right now, the priority has to be preserving jobs for those teachers in classified, and that is where I stand today. And with that being said, having a motion on this bill, I'll call for a vote. Madam Secretary, call the vote.
Can I make a couple of closing comments?
We're done.
Correa.
Not voting.
Ashburn.
No.
Ashburn, no. Corbett.
Aye.
Corbett, aye. Cox. No. Cox, no. Ducheney. Liu. Aye. Liu, aye.
Senator 2, do we have anybody else that needs to add on? That bill fails on a 2-2. and we will grant reconsideration. Again, thank you very much for your time. Seeing no further business before this committee is adjourned.